This love, it is a distant star, guiding us home wherever we are. This love, it is a burning sun, shining light on the things that we've done. I try to speak to you every day, but each word we spoke, the wind blew away. Could these walls come crumbling down? I want to feel my feet on the ground and leave behind this prison we share. Step into the open air. How did we let it come to this? What we've just tasted, we somehow still miss. How will it feel when this day is done? And can we keep what we've only begun? And now these walls come crumbling down, and I can feel my feet on the ground. Can we carry this love that we share into the open air? Into the open air. To the This love, it is a burning sun.
Hello, Sonder family. Welcome to our October monthly setup. My name is Bailey Grady, and I will be your facilitator this evening. I want to wish a very warm welcome and very warm thoughts to anybody that is currently in the path of the hurricane. I am in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is just north of Nashville, and so thankfully we have had some rain here, but no significant flooding, but I know that that is not the case everywhere. And also that obviously the coastlines and places have had quite a lot of damage. So we hope that all of our Sonder fam is staying safe, and we are keeping you all in our thoughts if you're in an area that's being impacted. But we are excited to welcome a new month in with October. If this is one of your first Sonder socials, we are so excited that you're here. You can go ahead and drop a, hey, that's me, I'm a first timer in the chat if that's you, or just an exclamation point. But one of the first things that you're going to want to do, whether you are a returning socialer, which I see lots of familiar names, so welcome. Good to see all of you, or at least see your names in the chat. But whether you're a returning Sonder fam member or this is one of your first socials, you're going to want to set that chat box to everyone. So a lot of the times that little blue box next to where you type will default to host and panelist. And if it's set to that, then not everybody will get to see what you have to say. And we definitely want everybody to be able to see what you're sharing because we have the most amazing community here. And you will notice that you don't have to worry if your camera is on or off or if you're on mute or not. It's just going to be me camera on today. So you can come in your like cozy clothes and, hot mess, don't care hair, right? Like just show up exactly as you are, which by the way, we want you to do that anyway, even if we could see you. We love you no matter what. But you can definitely feel free to get comfy without wondering like, oh my gosh, can people hear my dog howling in the background? Like, oh my gosh, my kids are being crazy. Like, we can't hear ya, we can't see ya, but we would love to see what you have to say in the chat. So just be sure that you have that set to everyone so we can all see what you have to share. As we go through tonight, We're going to have lots of examples and tips and tricks up on the screen of how you might like to get set up this month with your journal. But you can also get a lot of really great tips and tricks from the other Sonder fan members here in the chat. But as we go through, if you see something up on screen that you like and you want to refer back to it, we will share a link at the end of where you can find the recordings and everything. But even if you don't want to wait for that, you can definitely just feel free to take pictures, grab screenshots as we go through. And speaking of pictures, if you feel comfortable taking a picture of your journal once you get it all set up, we would love to see it in the Sonder Club app, or if you want to tag us on Instagram or TikTok at Silk and Sonder. We always love seeing all of the ways you make this journal work just for you. So we'll go ahead and cover our community guidelines here before we get started. So first of all, be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. And please respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions if you can. We don't mind a little bit of chatter around like stickers and pins and stuff like that. We love hearing the ways, like I said, that you're getting creative and kind of making this your own, but we always have a short amount of time in these socials. They always seem to fly by. Although in a monthly social, we do get an extra 15 minutes. So we have a little bit of extra time together tonight. But we want to stay on the topic at hand as much as we can, just so that you're making the most of your time here. And then any questions that myself or the amazing Malika, who is also here helping out in the chat, anything she or I am not able to answer because we don't have access to the information needed to answer, we will direct it over to the customer care team at hello@silkandsonder.com, and they'll get you taken care of. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So basically, what that means is participate at your comfort. If you want to hang out in the chat and hang out with this awesome community and, connect and share things, then we want you to do that. But if you also just want to spend this time just to yourself, just focusing in on your journal, you don't want to participate in the chat, that is okay. Do some of both. Do neither. You can just sit here and kind of absorb or just hang out for a bit. We want this time to be whatever it is you need it to be. And as you start engaging with your journal, you're going to hear us remind you over and over again that not only is this time tonight for you, but that journal is for you too. So feel free to make changes and get creative and lean into whatever it is that you need to as far as switching things up to make this work for you. Your journal should always feel like your life sidekick. It should never feel like a drill sergeant telling you to fill in that chart or do that thing. It should always feel like you've got a cheerleader there to kind of motivate you along the way. So with that said, we are going to complete our opening activity on our brand new theme this month. Then we will do our September reflections, and then we'll get into October, setting up our October intentions, and getting into those trackers, the mood and habit tracker, and hopefully getting you ready for that new month. So welcome October, welcome opportunity. I love that. October opportunity. We've got some alliteration there. What a lovely theme. And especially after our theme last month of knowledge, if you had a social with me last month, you know that I talked a lot about how I think, information is one thing, but knowledge is kind of when we know what we need to do with that information. And so I think opportunity kind of flows well with this because sometimes once we know what we need to do, the next thing we need is an opportunity to do it. So it's kind of flowing together really well over these last couple months. If you haven't already, there is always a letter on page 2 of your journal that talks about our new theme and the month ahead from Meha. And I always recommend starting there, but especially this month, there are just like tons of really good little nuggets and insight here. So just to call out a few things that she mentions, she talks about October being a time where there is space for deep reflection, planning, and hope. And that opportunity is one of the few things that can arise from challenges and wins alike. We have to kind of take the time and make it a point to notice opportunities. Sometimes they're right in front of us. And opportunity doesn't have to be so big. And I think that that's an important thing for us to focus on this month when we're looking at this theme is I think a lot of the times when we hear the word opportunity, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a new career path, or I've accepted a scholarship, or I have an opportunity to move, or I could change and into a totally different season of life, right? Like maybe I'm looking at retirement, maybe I've been presented with some sort of volunteer work possibility, right? But opportunity can also be found in the small things. It's found in carving out the time in your day to establish consistency and spend time with yourself. Like right now, tonight, you are here carving out time for you to be in community with a group of people that are all trying to learn and grow about themselves. And you've got an opportunity right now tonight to spend some time with yourself and get yourself ready for the month and dive into you, right? And that sounds like little things. And honestly, they are kind of little things, but little things are what add up to the true big things in life. So definitely don't discount some of those small opportunities. And then she invites us to reflect on past opportunities that you may have experienced, and then also think about opportunities that might exist today. And we'd love it if you will share your life buds with us in Sonder Club, which is usually like the things that are on the horizon that are coming up that maybe you're like excited or nervous or both about, so that we can kind of encourage you to see those in a new light. And then I found some fun quotes here about opportunity, and one that really like resonates with me right now in particular is the quote from Mark Rubin up at the top that says, "Wherever there is change and wherever there is uncertainty, there is opportunity." If you had a social with me last month, you also know that unfortunately my husband has recently been laid off from his job, and that also I work at the same place. And while my job is thankfully secure at this time, we're also experiencing a lot of change at work. Our office is relocating. It's coming with a lot of upheaval. And so it's just a lot of change and uncertainty happening all at once for me. But I can't control the change, right? A change is a part of life. But what I can control is my perspective. And I don't believe in toxic positivity, right? I don't believe in ignoring the things that are hard. I think it's important to acknowledge the tough stuff, but we can acknowledge things that are hard and that they are tough while also trying to be positive about what might be ahead. And so this is really a perfect theme for me and my little tiny family right now to kind of lean into. And so I'm trying to remind myself of that quote, that wherever there's change and wherever there's uncertainty, there is opportunity. And then I love your potential to succeed is infinite. And every accomplishment starts with the decision to try. Be obsessed with your own potential. So really, really great theme for all of us, and an invitation to really just lean into all the opportunities in our life, whatever they may be, wherever they may lead, whether they may seem big or small. Sometimes the smallest opportunities end up making the biggest changes in our life. So, in order to welcome in this new theme, we are going to continue our tradition this year of putting together an acrostic poem. And if you've never done an acrostic poem, what it is we're going to actually spell out the word opportunity vertically on a piece of paper, and then we're going to try to create a poem where the first letter, right? So O, P, P, O, R, that is going to be the letter that your first line starts with, your second line would start with P, etc. And you'll see an example in a minute that'll make it a little bit more clear. So there's a couple ways that you can tackle this. You can first start by thinking about the word opportunity and thinking about what words come to mind or what life experiences come to mind when you think about that. Or you can just lean into this being a really fun exercise and just think about words that start with the letter, or think about, what season we're getting ready to enter, right? We're like fully in fall now. It's here. Does that bring up anything for you? Like, it doesn't have to be super focused in on the theme if you don't want it to be, because even if you go outside the theme with your actual lines, it's still the word opportunity, right? So you can have as much fun with it as you want and still be kind of on brand, if you will. So this is going to be something you'll have to do on a blank page or space in your journal, or you can always just grab a notebook or scratch piece of paper. If you're somebody that is really precious about every inch and nook and cranny in that journal, that is okay too. So this is kind of how you will set up your page. And don't worry, I'll go back through all of these slides. And then we have some examples here that our fellow facilitator Maya found and put up here. And I think this one on the right is just really beautiful. It says, open roads and endless skies, possibilities in disguise, paths that lead to dreams come true, opulent horizons, all brand new. Radiant dawns after the night, taking chances, reaching height, underneath the starlit sea, new adventures wait for thee. Inside each moment, seize the key to unlock your destiny. Yes, embrace your journey free. I thought that one was absolutely gorgeous. And then these are a couple that I did. So like the center one is kind of my actual poem that I did with like lines. And then the one on the bottom right, I just went with like random words that popped into my head. And then the one on the top left, I actually decided to think about colors. So thinking about colors that started with the word O, P, P, O, R, T, U, N, I, T, Y. So again, just something kind of fun. Feel free to do more than one, like I did, if you'd like to, or just stick to one, but don't scare yourself. Don't be intimidated. Don't overcomplicate it. This is just a fun way to welcome in this new theme. And all you got to do is just give it a try. There are no hard and fast rules here. So with all that said, I will cycle through these slides while you're working on this, and then I'm going to put on some music for you. Let us know in the chat what words you're coming up with, if you're picking a particular theme, if you're leaning into opportunity. We would love to see those poems. And then I'll come back and we'll move into our next activity. Thank you all for taking a little time to welcome in our theme. We are now going to get started with our main event. Isn't that such a pretty picture? I love that. With our new October journal, and I saw some of you talking about liking the colors this month. I agree totally. It's so like moody, but still really soft, and I just love that. So we are going to start with our reflection. So this is going to be on page 8 of your journal. We are going to be thinking about September. And I know that we still have a few days left in September, of course. So that is okay. Maybe leave a little bit of room just in case something happens in the next couple days that you want to write down. But we are going to be thinking about this month and maybe the wins that we had, the challenges we faced, what some of our favorite moments are. And then we're also going to take some time to kind of consider, based on that reflection, if there's anything we want to start, stop, and continue before we move into October. So wins are, of course, something that you did, something you accomplished, maybe something that made you smile or made you happy. Challenges are things that maybe didn't go right or something out of your control, a stumbling block, something, that was just hard. And then tips could be that if you do like the weekly socials with us, or if you do your weekly spread in your journal each week, there are those rosebud thorn pages at the end of each week, where you can kind of reflect on the week. So you can flip back to those for some inspiration of some of these if you complete those. I always have to pull up my phone and kind of go through my calendar and my pictures and videos and stuff like that to see and remind myself what the heck happened. Because some months just fly by, and this was definitely one of those for me. And then when you're looking at your start, stop, and continue section, you're thinking about things you want to start doing next month, something you want to stop doing. Maybe you want to stop beating yourself up, or not giving yourself grace, or not allowing yourself to rest, or stop not making time for you, right? And then things you want to continue. So continuing those behaviors that are working for you. Now, I changed my stop, start, and continue a little bit, and I'll have an example of that in a second. But you've got my reflections up on the screen. So obviously, my challenges were a lot around the things I mentioned at the beginning. My husband's being laid off. We're having a lot of changes at work. And because of those things, everything is just sort of on pause, and they feel uncertain, and I have anxiety, so that's sometimes a tough place for me to be. But overall, I'm managing pretty well. So, and then I did have some wins though, and I like this because it kind of forces us to look at things with a little bit of perspective. So even though this has been a hard month, there were some wins. Like we got our garage cleaned up. I finally painted the trim in our hallway, and y'all, we've been in this house for like 12 years. And I finally painted the hallway trim that has needed to be painted since we moved in. Yes. And then despite the change and everything, I really have been managing it quite well. And we had some really favorite moments, one of which happens tomorrow for me. It's my husband and I's 11-year wedding anniversary. So I'm sure that that will be a favorite moment for sure. And then I promised that I had some examples of how and why I changed up my start, stop, and continue. So you've got some other examples of start, stop, and continues here, including this one where it talks about what, why, and how, which I think is a great take. But I decided to do this formula here of I fill X and Y because of A or B, and I want to, this says feelsy, but it could just be I want to, and then there's an action there. And then there's also some examples here of what some of those negative thinking traps might look like. So you can think about maybe stopping some of those. Oh, thank you guys so much for the happy anniversaries. So that's what I did with mine is I followed this formula here. And so I changed mine to I feel, because of, I want to. So I said, I feel stressed, hopeful, loved, nervous because of changes in my routine, Cameron's layoff, the support of friends and family, and uncertainty. And then I want to take care of myself mentally, remain positive, trust, and let go. So I will cycle between these slides for you while you work on your reflections, and just take some time to think about last month before we move into the next one. And again, feel free to leave a little bit of space for the next couple days if you think you might need it. Okay, now that we have given September the reflection that it deserves, we are now going to move fully into October. So, flipping over to the next page to set up our October intentions. So, there are pre printed categories there on the page, and they are spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, and professional goals. But as I said at the beginning, please do not be afraid to change up things in the journal to make it work for you. If one of those categories does not fit you, if it doesn't speak to you, if it doesn't work for your life, then please do not be afraid to change it up into whatever makes sense to you. And as the top of the page says, it's a new month, a new you. Setting intentions is not making a to do list, it's asking something of yourself and then giving yourself the strength to do it. So that can look like holding space, giving grace, being honest with you, because this is your journal, and making sure that you move forward with a clear vision of what to do next. So you can decide to set this up in so many different ways. I think this is the page that I've gotten the most creative with during my entire time at Silk and Sonder. You could use that theme of opportunity to set your intentions. So maybe thinking about different areas of life where there are opportunities. And remember what we talked about at the beginning, opportunities don't have to be big, they can be small. And then you could also focus in on one area, or maybe even think of it as like an alternative theme, like self love, self talk. Maybe it's grounding, maybe it's mindfulness. You could use the name of a song or lyrics that inspire you. You could also do quotes. You could decide what you want to feel this month in each area. So going back to that start, stop, and continue, there was that formula of like, I feel because I want to feel. You could do that here if you wanted to in each category. And then feel free to use stickers, colors, images, anything that you want to spice it up and make it fun. And then you could also try one thing you want to let go of and one thing you want to start doing. So our fellow facilitator, Maya, helps to put together these slides for us. And she, a couple months back, started including like all the national this and that of the month things. And so I love that October is National Chili Month, because that's exactly what I had for dinner tonight was chili. And it was actually buffalo chicken chili. And I love that recipe, and it's super easy because it goes in a slow cooker and it's really easy to like modify for different dietary things. So I'm popping the link in the chat for all of you. So feel free to make the buffalo chicken chili if you want. It's not my recipe, but it's a good one and it's easy and it was good. So it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, World Menopause Month, National Women's Small Business Month, National Principles Month, Global Diversity Awareness Month, World Mental Health Month. Hello, that's a big one. Health Literacy Month, and Filipino American History Month. So if any of those speak to you or spark inspiration, feel free to work those in. There's also some different suggestions of other categories that you might use in place of some of these that are pre-printed. These are ones that we have had people share in the chat with us and in Sonder Club of what worked for them instead of some of these other ones. So for example, switching professional goals to learning goals or creative goals, switching up physical health to maybe heart health, brain health, body positivity, etc. And then we have some amazing examples from Sonder Club. So these are a little bit more visual, where you have, kind of some images that speak to each theme. You've got a full-on kind of collage that's a little bit like a vision board. And then you've got a combo. Like we've got some stickers here, and then we've also got some written motivation there. You could try visualizing what you want to be, what feelings you want to lean into. This one was super cute on the right, where somebody decided to kind of do some predictions about the month ahead. I think this could also be a great place to think about manifestations or positivity that you want to invite into your life in some of these other areas. There is an example here of more and less. I know a lot of folks like to do this envelope style, where they kind of pick a thing and then they put three things to support the thing they're putting in the envelope. Of course, you can always just do a couple of bullet points. I think this one is nice and neat and tidy and beautiful, and I am never that tidy. And also, not only can you change up all of these categories, you do not have to fill them all in. If you just need to focus on 3 areas this month and that's what you need, then do that. You can also do fun quotes. That's what I did last month for mine. But then this month, this was an example on the left that I had found before the social last month, and I decided that I kind of wanted to use that as inspiration this month. So I decided to create different affirmations for myself in this area because when I did that start, stop, and continue, and I said, I want to remain positive and I want to like keep taking care of my mental health, right? Through this season of change, I was like, you know what's going to support that? Affirmations. So that is what I decided to do for my intentions. I cannot wait to hear what intentions you have for October. And if there's anything fun that you're doing to set these up, definitely let us know in the chat. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I knew it. I was like, wait, I have one more here. So we have a fun thing from the Silk and Sonder Instagram here of what's in and out for fall. So for example, what's in is feeling your feelings. What's out is numbing your feelings. What's in is dreaming big. What's out is limiting yourself. So you could use that as inspiration along with these other October intentions that also came from the Instagram. You never know what fun goodies you're going to find there. So I will cycle through all of these slides for you. Please share in the chat if you're comfortable what you're putting down for your intentions for October, and then we'll move into our trackers. All right. So with those intentions set, or if you're still working on them, don't worry about it. It'll come to you. We are going to get started with our trackers. So our mood and habit trackers. Now, when I was first getting started with Silk and Sonder, these were the pages along with the journal prompts that I really gravitated towards that kind of kept me coming back month after month and really helped me establish some consistency that I desperately needed. And so I still love them so much. I used the journals for over a year before I filled in every single page. So if you ever feel like a page isn't speaking to you or you're not sure what to do with it, don't put pressure on yourself. Just skip it. When it's time for that page to be there for you, it will. I do all my pages in my journal now, but a lot of that is because I get to do these awesome events with you all. So it kind of helps me to be held accountable. There are some months where I don't get to all of them, and that's okay. Sometimes when I have a little bit of extra energy, I'll go back through those older journals and do some of the pages that I missed. But don't ever try to force it. When a page has a purpose for you, it'll reveal itself. So we're going to start with our mood tracker, and this is going to be on page 10 of your journal. So a mood tracker can help us understand trends and how we're feeling. And hopefully that will allow us to kind of take notice of what's going on and then begin making shifts to bring in tools into what works when positive moods show up for us. So with the mood tracker, for those of you that may be new, there are two styles of pages. You've got the wheel, as we call it, which is what we have this month for October. And then there's also the hexagons. Now, some people prefer one or the other. And so we definitely have a little bit of like team wheel, team hexagon, Silk and Sonder. Some people feel very attached to one or the other. For me, I'm just team mood tracker. I'm just glad that the page is in here. So I kind of like the switch up a little bit because it helps me to kind of get creative and not feel afraid to try something new because I'm not married to one particular shape. But if you have one that you prefer, that is totally okay. It will be back around in the next month. So when you are setting up your mood tracker traditionally, you can decide to choose 2 to 3 kind of tough feelings, one neutral, and 2 to 3 positive feelings to track. You could decide to focus in on that theme of opportunity. Maybe what kind of feelings does opportunity bring up, right? Sometimes it's like that yippee feeling, like Malika said earlier. But also sometimes opportunity can make us nervous. It can make us feel uncertain. So you could lean into that. You can also decide to fill in every emotion that came up that day or just fill in whatever was the strongest. And definitely feel free to use stickers, color pens, doodles, or just a single pen to create your key. And then a tip for the Sonder fam was that Katara shared that they like to count up each feeling at the end of the month and then write the number of times they felt that way. So kind of putting that data front and center, if you will. And then this is a feelings wheel. So there are 6 major feeling categories. You've got fear, love, joy, anger, sadness, and surprise. And they're represented here on the inside of the wheel as well. But you can break that out into a little bit more descriptive feelings, and then from there, break it out even more into more descriptive feelings. So we will come back to this for inspiration if you need that. But I wanted to share some examples. So I love both of these mood trackers for kind of the same reason. They both not only tracked really well, but on the days where they had tougher days or really positive days, they tried to kind of make notes about what might have contributed to that. And this one on the left, on the 30th, they had kind of like a surge of anxiety here. And they had shared in Sonder Club that on that day, they kind of felt like, oh my gosh, I thought I was doing so well, and now I'm having a rough day, and this just stinks. But then they were able to look at their tracker and see, like, oh, today was just a hard day. If I look through the month, my anxious feelings have actually been really low. And as somebody that experiences anxiety, I know that when you're having a tough day, it does kind of feel like it's snowballing. So having this to kind of like recenter you and help you to understand it's not necessarily a spiral, it's just a moment is really helpful. Oh my gosh, and I love that. Oh, wait, you said it's fire. Yeah, I agree. It is pretty awesome. But yeah, she kind of tracked the days that were really positive, like, oh, like we did this activity and I went out. So I kind of love that she was also focusing on what was bringing those kind of happy moments with that. And then Katie had shared that the way that she fills out her mood tracker is it's kind of like inside out, where her bubbles get complex and have different shades throughout the day. So, like the bigger the bubble, the bigger the emotion for that day. I love that concept. I also really love these bright colors in the bottom right. And then I like using faces for mood tracking. So I like these sticker face combos as well. And then you can also try to just do something totally different, do some fun symbols to track different things. Again, stickers, or I like this person that's doing faces, that they wanted to track lots of emotions, not just the ones that were there. So they kind of divided the category in half so that they could have more. Again, do not be afraid to switch things up. But the mood tracker gets repurposed a lot. And the reason is not because tracking moods is not a positive thing to do, because it can be. It's just because this is a whole page in your journal and you could use it to track anything. So if you need to track your daily affirmations, if you need to track anxiety levels, depression levels, energy levels, if you have something medically going on and your doctor has asked you to keep a log or keep a journal or an account of what's going on, this might be the exact page that you need to help you with that. You could also focus in on a certain feeling. Like if you're like, I don't know what's going on, I just feel like I've been in an overall like frustrated, cranky mood lately, then maybe you want to start tracking on a scale of 1 to 6. How cranky? Or maybe you want to start looking at, okay, how cranky do I feel in the morning versus how cranky do I feel in the evening? Because maybe there's a difference and maybe there's something to be learned there, right? But you can focus in on any of those feelings that speak to you. I use this page to track anxiety levels for a long time, and it made a huge difference for me. So if you're somebody that struggles with that and you feel called to do that and give it a try, I highly recommend it. The one on the left is actually an old one of mine, and then the one on the right is actually somebody else's from Sonder Club, and they were tracking not just stress, but also like stress in the physical impacts that they notice that it has on their body, so that they can kind of notice when they're starting to get stressed, hopefully, before it kind of gets all the way to that 6, right? You could change this up to a no spin tracker. I love this rate the day in the bottom left because it's a super simple thing. So like if you are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do this. I don't know if I want to track my moods. Just rate the day on a scale of 1 to 6. How like or yay was it, right? I love the self-care tracker. Lots of people use it for workouts. You've got a book tracker here, a mood boost tracker, which is also really creative. You've got another exercise tracker here. Feel free to try a theme, right? So this one was around January, so they did mittens. We're getting ready to go into October. So maybe you want to do faces, but maybe they're going to be pumpkins, right? Again, just whatever is going to work for you. And at the end of the day, I tend to need something simple because my journal goes everywhere with me. And so most of the time I just use a pen. And even though I've switched over to using stickers, sometimes when I'm on the go, I'll just make a note with my pen. And then on the weekends, I get to kind of take some time and sit with my journal and reflect on the week and put all my little stickers in there. And that works really well for me. So I've been using this as like a replenishment tracker the last few months, and it has been awesome for me because it's really helping me try to be intentional about carving out a little time for myself. So I did that last month, and you can kind of see what that looks like. And I'm doing it again this month, just switching up some things. So one of the things I put on there is time with the Sonder fam. So if this was today on my little tracker, I would get to put boop, a little pink sticker on there for spending time with all of you. But I also have time outside, comfort shows, reading podcast, and time with friends. So I will flip through all of these examples for you. Whoop, one too far. And give you some time to think about how you want to use this page for you. Do not be afraid to try different things. And also, if you're not sure about this page yet, that's okay if you're not ready for it yet. Like I said, when you're ready for a page, you will know. So I'm going to throw on some music. Let us know what you're deciding to do with this, and then we'll move on to our last tracker. right. We are now going to flip over to our last page of the night, which is our habit tracker. So the habit tracker can help us start new habits, stop doing habits that don't serve us, and continue habits that bring value. And I want to call out that this is not a habit to-do list, it is a habit tracker. Sometimes figuring out what doesn't work for us can be just as insightful as actually checking those boxes and hitting those goals. So again, you can lean into our theme of opportunity as your focus this month. You could pick another theme such as grounded, calm, joy, delight. Again, anything that is going to speak to you and give you what you need in this season ahead. You can continue habits from last month if they're working for you. But if you are starting new habits or adjusting things, just make sure that you're creating a little bit of balance between habits you know you can probably do and ones that are maybe going to be trickier. Because if we make everything hard, then we have a tendency to just kind of give up overall. It's important to have those small wins, right? And then remember, you do not have to fill in every line. So just because there are 7 lines there does not mean you have to have 7 habits. I love both of these examples. I especially like the one on the left where they actually call out that they got COVID, and so they just didn't worry about tracking. If you get sick, it is so hard to stick to a routine. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just say, hey, I was sick, forget about it. And I love this little reminder somebody wrote on their journal. Remember, it's not a bingo and a coverall is not the only way to win. Again, sometimes seeing what we didn't track is just as insightful. I thought this one on the right was really cool. First of all, it's really bright and pretty, but they actually, at the end of the month, figured out what percentage of their goal that they hit or that their habit that they tracked there. And I thought that that was really cool. I had not seen that before, so I wanted to share that. You can use stickers, which is what I do with my habit tracker now. Again, when I'm on the go, I just put a little dot with a pin. And then at the end of the week, I get to sit with my stickers and put them all on. And I love the way that they feel on the page. The person over on the right decided to track like how well they did each habit. So on a scale of like 1 to 5, I think it was, how well they did that habit that day, instead of just tracking a yes or no. And then these are my habit trackers. So you can see my habit tracker for last month on the left, and then the one I'm using this month on the right. So you can see on my habit tracker, I had no social media. And you can see that there are no stickers there in that line. Clearly, I put that on there thinking like, that'll be nice, but I wasn't actually ready to commit to it. So I'm not going to worry about it this month. But I am going to try kind of reminding myself why I picked the habit that I want to track. So instead of just writing water and exercise, writing water for hydration, exercise for strength, medications for health, 8 hours of sleep for rest, replenishment for me. So that goes back to that replenishment tracker that I have. And then no eating out for our budget and gratitude log for grounding. And then I know Brenda, who is one of our Sonder fam members, she has been tracking the same habits. It's probably getting close to a year now, to kind of like establish consistency. And then Georgie always sets 3 daily goals and then kind of 2 bonus ones that they don't stress if they don't check them all off. And then Stephanie likes to block out weekends, which you can also see on some of these trackers here where they've kind of blocked out their weekends, or maybe you are taking vacation or you have off days at different times. I think it can be really helpful to kind of carve that out. So you can also add a theme to this. You know, I love this. I celebrate my body when I go to the gym, work out at home, mindful moments, etc. This is a junk food tracker. I know some people have used it for like steps specifically or reading pages in books. Again, whatever works for you, and feel free to make it fun. I know that this is like a holiday theme, and we're not quite into the winter holidays yet, but I thought it was so fun and maybe was like inspirational to lean into spooky season as it's coming up, if that is your thing. And you can also use this as an opportunity to try to connect with other areas of the journal. So maybe one of the habits you want to put is a weekly habit because you have those weekly habits in the weekly pages, and that gives you some flexibility. Maybe one of your habits is to check back on your intentions that you just set so that you have those front of mind. Maybe it's to lean into your mind body health plan, which is also in the weekly. And we have a bingo page this month. So there's a bingo on page 21. So maybe one of your habits is checking in on your bingo page that you set up as well. And you can think about some fun fall ideas that you want to do, and then and then on the bingo, and then maybe like check in using the habit tracker. I also like these small but mighty habits for your evening routine for inspiration. And then we also have some more things for inspiration here. So I will throw on some music for you and cycle through all of these slides, and then we will wrap up our time together. It always goes by so fast. Well, if you can believe it, that is the end of our monthly setup social. Thank you all so much for being here tonight and carving out this time for you and getting ready for the month ahead. We would love to see pictures of your journal and Sonder Club if you feel comfortable sharing. Also, quickly, I'm going to drop another link in the chat because I saw that Meha shared this the other day. There's a sale of quite a few things going on the website, including some stickers. So just, wanted to make sure you guys knew because I know I didn't know, and I'm going to snatch up some of those things. I need a sale. Also, if you haven't heard, the Silk and Sonder Personalized Life Coach Beta is open. I am using this every week in my weekly setup. So if you attend one of those, you'll get to hear more about that. Also, we still have our Refer a Friend program going on. So if you refer somebody, they get $10 off, you get $10 off, and then you could come to socials together. If you're able to upgrade to an annual subscription, it can save you some money. So just something to keep in mind. And then please fill out the survey that you get either in your email or right now using the QR code or the links that Malika is popping in the chat. We would love to hear what you think about your experience. Malika has also shared the YouTube link in the chat, which will have this social, the recording of it, up in a few days. But almost all of our socials are recorded and up there as well. So if you ever miss one, if you just give it a couple days, it'll pop up there and you can catch back up that way. I will share the link to my playlist in this chat that we listened to this evening. You are welcome to find it, follow it, listen to it, pull songs from it, make your own playlist, whatever you need for your journal. It was our sincere pleasure being here with you tonight, and we can't wait to see what October unfolds for you and all the opportunity that's ahead. Until next time, be good to each other, and we'll see you in Sonder Club.
My skin is glowing, my energy is flowing, confidence growing, glow up is loading. When I look in the mirror, I see everything I want and everything I can ever need. I attract success, success I achieved. I attracted beauty and I turned into a queen. I dropped all the drama, the focus on me. Let go of what hurt me, the things that no longer serve me. I made myself top priority. I let go of the past, I crossed over that bridge. Started loving myself, love the life that I live. For everything I have, I am thankful for it. I know that the universe continues to give. I know my worth is expensive like diamonds. Left all of my exes in the streets crying, cause now I am shining like stars in the sky. They held me back, had to tell them goodbye. I saw past all my limits, open all three of my eyes. From my past, I continue to rise. I know that everything is gonna turn out just fine. I just ask the universe, and the universe supplies. I am protected, I have my guides. I am worthy, I am divine. I live by the sun, loved by moonlight. Life is what you make it, I make mine a paradise. I got that pretty girl magic, I want it, I attract